Have you ever pondered about the heroes of African resistance against colonialism? One such hero is Béhanzin, who was born in 1844 in the kingdom of Dahomey, present-day Benin. Born to King Glele and Queen Hangbe, both members of the Fon ethnic group, Béhanzin was a prince destined for the throne. From his earliest days, the young prince was immersed in the rich cultural heritage and traditions of his people. His education was not limited to the royal court, as he was also trained in military tactics and administration. Through these lessons, Béhanzin was not just learning how to be a king, but also how to be a leader, a protector, and a preserver of his kingdom's independence and integrity. He was tutored in traditional rituals, a key part of Dahomeyan culture, and these lessons instilled in him a profound respect for his people's customs and values. Young Béhanzin was being groomed for greatness, but little did he know the challenges that lay ahead. In 1889, Béhanzin ascended the throne following the death of his father, King Glele. With the weight of the crown came responsibility, an inheritance of an evolving landscape fraught with challenges. Among these were the increasing pressures of European colonialism, eager to extend their influence and control over the resource-rich lands of Dahomey. Simultaneously, Béhanzin grappled with internal political tensions, a test of his leadership and diplomacy skills. His reign was no fairy tale, rather a chess game of power, strategy, and survival. Each move he made, each decision he took, influenced the fate of his kingdom and his people. Yet Béhanzin, the son of King Glele and Queen Hangbe, was not one to cower. Trained in military tactics and administration, he stood firm in the face of these adversities. His resolve was as solid as the royal throne he sat upon, unyielding, unflinching. Despite these challenges, Béhanzin held firm, determined to protect his kingdom. Béhanzin's reign is best remembered for his fierce resistance against French colonial expansion. The late 19th century was a period of intense colonial pressure in West Africa, and Dahomey, under King Béhanzin, was right in the thick of it. Béhanzin, known for his strategic acumen, was not one to take this encroachment lightly. He believed in the sovereignty of his land and was willing to fight tooth and nail to protect it. French colonial powers, drawn by the rich resources and strategic location of Dahomey, were keen on exerting control over the region. However, they met with a formidable opponent in Béhanzin. His opposition wasn't merely a knee-jerk reaction to foreign invasion. Instead, it was rooted in a deep understanding of the potential consequences of colonial rule and the erosion of Dahomey's independence and cultural identity. Béhanzin's resistance was not just symbolic, it was tactical and bold. He mobilized Dahomey's military forces, preparing them for the battles to come. His leadership was inspirational, rallying his people to defend their homeland against external threats. Yet Béhanzin's opposition to French colonialism was not just about military might, it was also about diplomacy and negotiation. He engaged in a series of talks with the French, attempting to maintain Dahomey's independence while also trying to mitigate the impact of potential conflict on his people. But when diplomatic channels failed to deter the French from their expansionist ambitions, Béhanzin knew that a more direct confrontation was inevitable. His kingdom, his culture, and his people's freedom were on the line, and he was prepared to defend them at any cost. The stage was set for a significant conflict. The French, with their superior firepower and resources, were confident of an easy victory, but they underestimated the spirit of resistance that Béhanzin had fostered among his people. The stage was set for a battle that would go down in history as a symbol of African resistance against colonial rule. His courage and resolve set the stage for a significant conflict, the First Franco-Dahomeyan War. In 1890, the conflict between Dahomey and France escalated into war. This was not a war of choice for King Béhanzin and his people, but rather a war of survival, a desperate fight to protect their land, their freedom, their very way of life from the encroaching French colonial forces. Béhanzin, a man molded by his upbringing as a future king, was more than just a figurehead. He was a strategist, a leader who knew the importance of tactics in warfare. He utilized the terrain to his advantage, deploying his forces in ways that often surprised the French. He understood the art of war, the balance between attack and defense, and the need for both courage and cunning on the battlefield. At his side were his Dahomeyan warriors, the Amazons, a formidable force of women who were as fearless as they were loyal. Trained from a young age to be warriors, these women were the backbone of Dahomey's military might. They fought with a ferocity and dedication that often left the French reeling, their bravery becoming the stuff of legends. But bravery and tactical prowess alone are often not enough when the enemy possesses superior firepower and resources. The French had modern weapons, well-trained soldiers, and the backing of a colonial power that was rapidly expanding its territories across Africa. Despite the Dahomeyans' valiant resistance, they found themselves gradually being overwhelmed. The war raged on for 4 long years, a period marked by fierce battles and heavy losses on both sides. It was a testament to the resilience of the Dahomeyan people and their unwavering determination to defend their homeland. Yet the odds were stacked against them. The superior resources of the French ultimately tipped the scales in their favor. Despite their bravery, the Dahomeyans were defeated. In 1894, Béhanzin was captured, a moment that marked a turning point in the history of Dahomey. The proud kingdom that had resisted the French for so long was finally subdued. The capture of Béhanzin, the king who had led his people with such courage and determination, signaled the end of Dahomey's independence. Yet even in defeat, Béhanzin's spirit remained unbroken. His legacy lived on, inspiring future generations to continue the fight for freedom and independence. His story remains a testament to the courage and resilience of the African people in the face of colonialism. In 1894, Béhanzin was exiled to Martinique and later Algeria. His defeat marked the conclusion of Dahomey's independence and the beginning of an era of French colonial rule in the region. In exile, Béhanzin held his head high, embodying the spirit of a king even in captivity. He was held in Martinique for a year before being moved to Blida, Algeria. Here he continued to live in a state of dignified resistance. Even in exile, Béhanzin's influence was profound. His life became a symbol of resistance, his spirit an emblem of defiance against colonialism and imperialism. While Béhanzin lived out his days in Algeria back in Dahomey, the French were establishing their colonial rule. They implemented their administrative structures and economic policies, reshaping the political and cultural landscape of the kingdom. Dahomey, a once proud and independent kingdom, became French Dahomey, a mere colony in the vast French colonial empire. Yet the memory of Béhanzin, the last independent king of Dahomey, endured. His struggle against the mighty French colonial powers became a rallying cry for future generations. He was no longer just a king, but a symbol of the fight for freedom and sovereignty. His story was passed down through generations, inspiring Africans to resist colonial rule and fight for their independence. Béhanzin's legacy of resistance resonated beyond the borders of Dahomey. Across Africa, his story became an inspiration for anti-colonial movements. His courage, his strength, and his unwavering commitment to his people's sovereignty became a beacon of hope for those yearning for freedom from colonial rule. From Algeria to Zimbabwe, from Senegal to South Africa, Béhanzin's spirit was invoked as a symbol of resistance against colonialism. Béhanzin's story is a powerful reminder of the struggles faced by African kingdoms during the late 19th century. His bravery and determination have earned him a revered place in African history and the legacy of anti-colonial resistance. His life is a testament to the indomitable spirit of resistance that was and continues to be a driving force in Africa's struggle for freedom and independence. His name is spoken with reverence, his story told with pride, and his legacy continues to inspire Africans across the continent and beyond. Béhanzin's story is a powerful reminder of the struggles faced by African kingdoms during the late 19th century. His bravery and determination have earned him a revered place in African history and the legacy of anti-colonial resistance.